gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjú, gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjú. Lórí WhatsApp àfíjú, Instagram àfíjú, Facebook àfíjú, lórí X àfíjú, lórí YouTube àfíjú, lórí TikTok àfíjú. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Ẹ bá mi pè é o, ẹ bá mi pè é o. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Rédíò àfíjú, gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjú, gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjú, gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjú, gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjú. Rédíò àfíjú, rédíò àfíjú, rédíò àfíjú.
Hey there, Super Kids! Are you ready for a ride of fun and learning? Get ready to blast off on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew on Radio Afinju every Saturday at 10 to 11 a.m. Listen to stories that will tickle your bones, games that will blow your mind, and music that will make you dance like no one's watching. Also lots of surprises and gifts to be won. So gather your friends, turn up the volume, let's have fun and make awesome memories together on Kids Arena with Auntie Pearl and crew. Only on Radio Afinju. Yay!
Má kọ̀yìn síbi ayé kọjú sí ọ̀rẹ́ wa. Rédíò Àfinjú láyé ń tẹ̀lé báyìí.
Life no get duplicate.
Na so, ẹ̀mí ò láàárọ̀ o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Tẹ́ jẹ́jẹ́ o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Make you take am.
Wherever you're listening or watching Radio Afinju, the time is 3 p.m.
First, a look at the highlights. Presidency clarifies position on 2024 UN Council elections. Kenya's chip and tech breaks marathon world record. Harris targets black men with new economic proposals. A very good afternoon and welcome to the World News on Radio Afinju. My name is Stella. Aderanti, the news in detail. The presidency has clarified that Nigeria was not among those who competed in the 2024 United Nations Human Rights Council elections, which were held on October 9, 2024, according to the statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. Nigeria was not snubbed. The statement states that any votes mistakenly attributed to Nigeria during the recent election were likely cast in error by other nations. In line with such elections into international bodies, countries vying for positions usually receive regional endorsements, and Nigeria's focus has been on supporting these endorsed candidates to strengthen collective African representation on the global stage. The presidency urged media outlets to verify their information before publication and cautioned against damaging narratives that could undermine the nation's reputation in international affairs. Members of the Edo State House of Assembly have confirmed Governor Godwin Obasangi's nominees for the State Civil Service Commission. Reports say the House confirmed the 5-member nominees at the plenary session less than 1 month before the end of Obasangi's administration. The nominees were read at the House's plenary on October 2nd, 2024 by the Speaker of the House, Blessing Agbebaku. Recall that Governor Godwin Obasangi administration will end on November 12, 2024, and the new administration to be led by Senator Monday Okpobolo, a member of the All Progressives Congress, APC, would be sworn in as the new governor of the state. The confirmed nominees are Ugodala Aluyi as chairman, Ehi Obasaki, Gilbert Adegboyega, Julie Olatunji, and Margaret Ohiwele as members. Meanwhile, the House has passed a bill for a law to establish Edo State's Digital Governance and Data Management Agency. Part house of a residence of the Speaker of Zamfara State House of Assembly, Biliaminu Muriki, has been gutted by fire in Gusau, the state capital. The incident reportedly occurred over the weekend, had no record of casualty, but properties worth millions of naira were destroyed. In a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker, Bello Madaru, the Clerk of the House, Mahmoud Aliyu, expressed shock on behalf of the Assembly and its staff, calling the incident a tragic calamity. He described the inferno as an act destined by Allah, extending sympathy to the Speaker, his family, and his constituents in Zurmi West. Many political figures and well-wishers have since visited the Speaker to offer their condolences. At least 6 persons died and several others were injured in an accident involving a trailer conveying tiles and a lorry loaded with soft drinks at Okeleshi, Amloko along Akara Road, Ibadan. Sources said among the injured that a pupil whose mother reportedly died in the accident. 4 of the injured who were rushed to the Amuloko City Hospital nearby included 2 primary school children, while 2 with severe injuries were admitted for proper treatment, while the dead were conveyed to an undisclosed hospital. A staff of the Oyo Road Transport Maintenance Agency, who pleaded anonymity, said the accident occurred in the early hours of the day, adding that it was caused by brake failure of the trailer that was descending the slope of the road. The commander of the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, Oyo State Command, Rosemary Allo, confirmed the accident but said she would speak officially when her men briefs her appropriately. In a related development, 2 people have died in a multiple vehicle crash at Second Rainbow bus stop along the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway in Lagos. A statement by the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, signed by its permanent secretary, Olufemi Oke Osanyitolu, said it received a distress call and had activated its state emergency response to the location. The LASEMA bus disclosed that on arrival of the Eagle response team at the incident scene by 5:52 p.m. on Sunday, it discovered a multiple accident involving a MAN truck conveying groundnut oil, Honda Accord salon car, and 2 commercial buses. Still in Lagos, a 2-story building has collapsed at Amusu Street in Orile-Gomo area of Lagos State. Information gathered that the incident happened in the early hours of today. An official of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency who confirmed the incident anonymously to newsmen said no casualty was recorded. Away from Nigeria, Kenya's Ruth Chepngetich broke the world record to win the Chicago Marathon. The 30-year-old clocked a time of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 57 seconds to surpass Ethiopian Tigst Assefa's previous record by nearly 2 minutes. Chepngetich is the first woman to run a marathon in under 2 hours and 10 minutes. Assefa set the previous record with victory at the 2023 Berlin Marathon in 2 hours, 11 minutes and 53 seconds. Victory for Chepngetich is her 3rd in Chicago, where she missed out on breaking compatriot Brigid Kosgei's then world record by 14 seconds in 2022. 4 of the 5 fastest women's marathon times have been run on the flat Chicago course over the last 6 years. In other parts of Africa, Uganda's government and Turkish construction firm Yapı Merkez signed a contract to build a 169-mile section of railway in a bid to boost regional trade. Uganda's standard gauge railway project coordinator Perez Wamburu said the agreement was for the first section of a planned 1,700-kilometer electric rail line, and the segment would cost $3 billion, adding that its construction will start in November. Uganda's Works Ministry Permanent Secretary Bageya Waiswa said at the signing ceremony, the project will increase trade and reduce transport costs. He said Uganda will use its own funds and credit from export credit organizations to finance the project, which will take 48 months to complete once started. The rail section will run from the capital Kampala to Malaba at the border with Kenya, connecting landlocked Uganda to its neighbors' rail network and onto the Indian Ocean seaport of Mombasa. In Asia, China's military has launched a new round of war games near Taiwan, saying it was a warning to the separatist acts of Taiwan Independence Forces, drawing condemnation from the Taipei and U.S. governments. Democratically governed Taiwan, which China views as its own territory, had been on alert for more war games since last week's National Day speech by President Lai Ching-te. Lei's address was condemned by Beijing after he said China had no right to represent Taiwan, even as he offered to cooperate with Beijing. In a parallel move, Beijing sanctioned a prominent Taiwan tech tycoon, Robert Tso, and a lawmaker for separatist activities. The command did not state when the drills would end. Meanwhile, Czech President Petr Pavel greeted former Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen on her arrival at the conference in Prague. A sensitive trip for a senior politician that Beijing has repeatedly denounced as separatist. The Czech Republic, like most countries, has no official diplomatic ties with Chinese-claimed Taiwan, but the two sides have moved closer as Beijing ratchets up military threats against the island and Taipei seeks new friends in Eastern and Central Europe. China's military launched a new round of war games near Taiwan, drawing condemnation from the Taipei and U.S. governments. It was learned that Pavel and Tsai shook hands and spoke briefly at the opening of the Forum 2000 conference, and Tsai later sat through an opening speech by Pavel and a panel he was part of. Nevertheless, Pavel did not plan a meeting with Tsai. His officials said she was due to meet the heads of both chambers of the Czech parliament later today. The annual Forum 2000 conference, started by former Czech President Václav Havel, gathered leaders and thinkers from around the world to discuss democracy, human rights, and civil society. In Europe, the leader of Lithuania's main opposition, Social Democrats, has said she expected to become the next prime minister of the frontline NATO member state after her party won most votes in Sunday's parliamentary election. The Social Democrats won 19% of the vote, according to final partial results, just ahead of Prime Minister Ingrida Simonait's central-right Homeland Union on 18%, and the anti-establishment Nemunas Dawn on 15%. If they take power, Velija Blinskulait's Social Democrats are expected to maintain a tough stance towards Russia, including higher defense spending, while also seeking to improve fraying public services and taxing the wealthy more. Poland's parliament speaker has distanced himself from plans to suspend the right to asylum announced by Prime Minister Donald Tusk, amidst unease in parts of the ruling coalition that the measures may break the constitution and international law. Migration has been high on the agenda in Poland since 2021, when large numbers of people, mainly from the Middle East and Africa, started trying to illegally cross the border with Belarus in what Warsaw and the European Union said was a crisis orchestrated by Minsk and its ally Russia. Russia and Belarus have denied responsibility. It was gathered that during a congress organized by his civic coalition, the largest group in the government, the Prime Minister said Poland planned to temporarily suspend the right to asylum and vowed to reject any European Union migration policies that Warsaw believes undermine its security. From the Americas, Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris unveiled new policy proposals aimed at black men that include forgivable small business loans and access to a new legal recreational marijuana industry. The Harris campaign and Democrats, including former President Barack Obama, have expressed deep concern about whether black males will turn out on November 5th in numbers seen in past elections, and whether they will support Harris or her Republican rival Donald Trump. The new slate of policy proposals is part of an effort pushed by Harris to make a direct pitch at black men and make them a more central part of her campaign during the final stretch. The new policies include 1 million loans that are fully forgivable of up to $20,000 to entrepreneurs in undeserved communities, and a promise to legalize recreational marijuana and help ensure black entrepreneurs have access to the new industry. Other proposals include boosting access to the cryptocurrency industry for black Americans and launching a national health equity initiative focused on black men that addresses diseases like sickle cell, which disproportionately impacts the community. While the plans cater for the black community, Harris is seeking to emphasize how her economic proposals benefit all men. In the Middle East, Israeli Energy Minister Eli Cohen has accused the United Nations UNIFIL peacekeepers in South Lebanon of being a useless force that failed to protect Israelis from Hezbollah attacks and called on it to withdraw as fighting wraps up. He said the state of Israel would do everything to ensure the safety of its citizens, and if the UN cannot help, at least it should not interfere and move its personnel from the combat zones. Israel and the United Nations have been trading accusations over the peacekeepers in South Lebanon as Israel pushes its forces through the area in an attempt to wipe out Iran-backed Hezbollah and its military infrastructure. The UN said Israeli tanks had burst into its base on Sunday, the latest allegations of Israeli violations against peacekeeping forces that have been condemned by Hezbollah and by Israel's allies. Israel disputed the UN account, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called for the peacekeepers to withdraw, saying they were providing human shields for Hezbollah during an upsurge in hostilities. In the meantime, the European Union's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, has condemned all attacks against United Nations missions in a response to targeting of the UN peacekeeping mission in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL, by the Israel Defense Forces. Borrell said in a statement on behalf of the EU published last night that such attacks against UN peacekeepers constitute a grave violation of international law and are totally unacceptable. Israel has disputed some UN accounts of incidents, including UNIFIL peacekeepers in Lebanon, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said they were providing human shields for Hezbollah militants during an upsurge in hostilities. In his statement, Borrell said all actors in the conflict have the obligation to ensure the safety and security of UN personnel and property. Now, talking sports, the federal government said it has sent necessary supplies to the Super Eagles in the wake of the crisis between the team and the Libyan authorities. In a statement, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, said he had been monitoring the situation closely and has temporarily sent some relief materials to the players. Tugar's response comes after a statement by the Nigeria Football Federation Communications Department said the team were left unattended to at the Al Abrak airport. The Eagles departed for Libya on Sunday morning ahead of their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match day 4 clash against the Mediterranean Knights. Libya was to host the three-time African champions at the 10,000 capacity Matthias of Benina Stadium in Benina, located just 10 kilometers from Benghazi. However, reports emerged that they were diverted to another city. Before we go, here again are the highlights. The presidency has clarified that Nigeria was not among those who competed in the 2024 United Nations Human Rights Council elections, which were held on October 9, 2024. Elsewhere, Kenya's Ruth Chepngetich has broken the world record to win the Chicago Marathon. And from the Americas, we brought you news that the Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris unveiled new policy proposals aimed at black men that include forgivable small business loans and access to a new legal recreational marijuana industry. And that was the world news on Radio Alfinju. To view our channel, please follow us on Facebook, Radio Alfinju, X, Radio Alfinju, and YouTube, Alfinju FM. My name is Stella Aderanti. Thanks for listening.